Hello over there in... Okay, I'm gonna do that again. Hello over there in the mellifluous name of a perfect savior and most abundant adorer of our souls, Jesus Christ. I hope you're good, I hope you're lovely, I hope you're peachy, I hope you're in a neat bunch. I frankly am wearing a wig, I think that's clear, so I think that makes me in a neat bunch. And I'm wearing makeup as well. It's not really makeup, but like it could be, okay, it could be, it totally could be. Using an application, so every so often if my eyebrows bounce like a happy baby, it's an app, don't come at me, don't throw stones, like, just don't do it. But if you want to throw stones, whatever, it's okay. I guess we'll make a stone house out of those stones, just like making lemonade out of lemons. Okay, guys, look. You know, I never really know what under heaven to talk about, and I never get a vakantie. That would be the tantamount of a holiday, but it doesn't matter, because don't nobody need a vakantie when the wicked are like the tossing sea, whose waters bring up mire and dirt continually. There is no rest, thus saith the Lord, for the wicked. So... really and truly, when they don't rest, you don't get to rest until such time that Jesus is like, Robert, it's time to chill. It's time to hang ten. It's time to like relax and max out. And it's not yet that time. Okay, so I need to stop fidgeting with the hair and just get straight to the point at this pizzite. Y'all, life sucks. Everything is heavy. Everything is uncomfortable and unfortunate. But you know, like I said, lemonade. That's what we make in a rock house out of stones thrown. Look at me build an igloo in my Antarctic like circle. Cause everything is kind of cold. Except it's like boiling. It's becoming summer. Give you 1 September, guys. It's the 1st of September. Okay, spring day. You know, speaking of spring day, of which, South Africa, you're like a zombie. Okay? But like a bully zombie with attitude. You're like a zombie that passes like a living, breathing person with like a heartbeat and everything. You know, like vitals are on fleek. And then you pass a shade. When you're just like basically just kind of operating on nothing but primitive desires. Attitude vibes for like 24 hours. And you just throw it at the person that's alive in the room. And I'm like, we're gonna talk about you, little zombie. It's spring today. Alright, the first day of spring. It's like, hallelujah. Praise the mellifluous one on high, because frankly his word is mellifluous. It is lovely to listen to. He's got the gift of the gab. And don't nobody move when the word is in town. But everybody's out here manifesting demons in front of the word. And the word is like, get out in my name. Aww. Anyway, but guys, you know what, ne? I really need to be serious right now. Being serious is an important factor of this whole thing. It is an imperative. Yes, I'm wearing the same vest I was wearing yesterday. We do such things in the kingdom of heaven. When you are at war, who has time to change out into brand spanking new camouflage? Who? Somebody's shooting at you. You'll change into a new dungaree tomorrow. Okay. Listen, you guys, everything is uncomfortable, everything is unfortunate, and there is nothing spectacular, especially about South Africa. Y'all, I just feel as if though all of y'all with your, look at us with our BRICS. Oh, we got BRICS. Stop. I'm gonna throw a brick at you, and then you're gonna understand that BRICS is not really actually a brick. It's hollow, not an ash. Moving on. Let's talk about spring. Let's talk about spring, guys. It's spring day today in South Africa. I apologize for those of y'all who are experiencing the entry of autumn. That would be your fall. I apologize. Frankly, I wish I could trade places with you. I prefer once upon a time in my life, you know, rainy summers, because it was just, you know, longer days, less depression. And then I got thrown into so much depression, made to live in a hut that's just a teeming at the folds with insects. In winter, in summer, so like summer, everything is hatching. Everything is out here literally cracking out of an egg. What? Everything is out here going through a whole stage of metamorphosis and then starting to fly. So like moths are all over the show, ants are all over the show, spiders are all over the show. And that used to be okay when I had like my own apartment and I could like, you know, hook up interventions against pests in his house. And then I lost everything, and now I live in this little uncomfortable environment that every so often I gotta swat a spider, I got to like blow, like burn a moth, put a flame to it, like a moth to a flame burned by the fire. Okay, y'all can tell I was born in 1984. Every so often I gotta doom an ant, and so for those reasons I've stopped liking summer. I also have a cat that gets grubby paws, and so in summer when it rains, sometimes it gets into this environment with its grubby paws and just kind of steps all over the bed and there's nothing I can do about it. I don't have movement. My life sucks, okay? So I went from absolutely loving summer to hating it, preferring winter, because this environment also has no... That's me breathing. Give me air, somebody give me air, please. Give me air. ventilation. It has no ventilation, so I'm always breathing my own CO2, and I'm always breathing hot air, and it's not comfortable, you know. I get like a little bit of an experience of what hellfire is going to be like for eternity when people are just inhaling fire. Yeah, I've got like a little bit of a sneak peek of that, and I'm here to let you guys know it's not fun. So how about you get to heaven already? Love the Lord. That's what's good. So I inhale fire. There is fire on a mountain, and nobody seems to be on the run. Oh, there is fire on the mountain top, and no one is running. I wake up in the summer, and there are birdies chirping everywhere. But at the same time, there's a spider, even though I've got arachnophobia. Oh. Yeah, but South Africa ain't running away from that fire, so that's what's good. I'm about to handle some people. Listen up. Yeah, so I don't really like summer anymore. I used to like it because, you know, longer days, it's happier. Everybody's just kind of splashing water everywhere and it's so cute. And then it stopped being cute because we've got bully zombies for a whole country. Oh, it's a dystopia, guys. It's a dystopia. Oh, it's a dystopia. Yeah, I crack a cry for 5 seconds and then I like stop cracking a cry because nobody cares. Did you see my eyelashes move there? I told you it's app makeup. Don't kill me. It is a dystopia. In a dystopia, don't nobody got time to put on real mascara. Don't nobody. Don't nobody. Anyway, yeah, so having loved summer before, and now I prefer winter because there's less insects and it's less hot and there's more air. Just like, it's easier to work out. Everything is just, you know, it works out for my suffering, my persecuted state. Works out better in winter. The fact that you've made that a thing, the fact that you've changed my preferences, I'm just like, South Africa, you're irresponsible, you're a zombie, okay? And so for those reasons, this is what God is going to do to you. You better pray that your flight is not in winter. You pregnant person and breastfeeding lady. Yes, because you did not go in the rapture. Booyah. Eat that, bite that, suffocate on that. Yeah. You made me prefer winter, so now God's going to give you a winter. Amen. Anyway, yeah, whatever. Bless the Lord, oh my soul. I love him. And thank the Lord for my cat. Don't dig the grubby paws. However, at least it's not a dog not chewing on my shoes. So praise the Lord for that. But let's talk about spring, okay? Now that you know that I used to prefer summer, I used to prefer hotter months, I used to prefer longer days, you know? That's what's good, shorter nights. I used to like it more than winter. And now I prefer winter for convenient purposes, just for ecological purposes, just for atmospheric purposes, cosmic purposes, climate purposes, given that I am living slap bang in the center of a heat stroke about to happen. So it's much better to be in winter for me. I have a fan that keeps on crackling it up a storm. It is so loud. I cannot deal, but in summer I gotta sleep with it on, and so forget about a peaceful sleep. What? I'm the kind of person that wakes up when a person just goes in the middle of the night. Nothing keeps me asleep all night long. I sleep very lightly, but I got a fan that's like all night long. But you know, this environment having no ventilation, if I don't have that fan on, RIP. Rest in peace, because I will be resting in peace. That's what's good. Why? Because I'm saved. Anyway, now that we've put that out there, let us explain one event of sorts from the past that happened to a lady chica sister. Can you tell this is fake hair? Oh please, no, it grows out of my scalp like this. Don't hate. I wake up like this. I wake up like this. I do. Anyway, whatever. But don't nobody want to believe that. The glory of the Lord is in my hair, cause it don't move. Anyway, yeah, spring starts in South Africa on the 1st of September, whatever year you might find yourself in. That is where it starts. How do I know this? I went to school once upon a time, you know, guys. Once upon a time, I was totally in grade 2. Once upon a time, I was totally in grade 3, 4, and 5. But then South Africa made a decision to just kind of pretend like I did not get educated, like I was never ever born, like I was never supposed to thrive in society, like I was never supposed to go and grab a purpose and stuff and, you know, do something with my life. So I rock up here and I lambaste them with the fact that I went to school, that's what's good, and y'all are irresponsible zombies that are full of bullying. I'm the one here that's full of life. I've got vitals on fleek, proper. If you hook me up to a machine, it's gonna go dee, dee, dee. You, on the other hand, dee. Flatline vibes, that's who you is, because you was a zombie, but you got attitude. Nonetheless, those tables are about to turn. And I'm about to explain to you why those tables are about to turn. So somewhere in the years of my thriving general thing I was doing out here in these used to be wonderful streets, but now they're dystopian. Now it's entropy. Now nobody recognizes it. Now there's a tumbleweed in that street. Anyway, whatever. Desert vibes be like. I'm seeing a mirage from the past. It's more like a vision of old. It's a premonition, but like a past one. Where I was working at MTN South Africa, that's what's good. I was employed in a telecommunications company as one of its flagrant employees because I was a hot and fiery ball of something nice, okay? I was good at what I did. Can you tell? Can you tell? Yeah. But I mean, like, I'm a pretty girl. I think that's kind of obvious some days. Other days, I'm like, it's not really that obvious because, I mean, what is with the acne? So, I mean, whether or not you're on the fence about my prettiness is irrelevant. What's important is that this pretty face of yours has been lambasted for being pretty and intelligent at the same time. And so I just, like, was encircled by these human individuals ever so often that refused to acknowledge that I get to be smart because the pretty couldn't be denied. Okay? And so whenever I would say stuff, they would laugh at it. I'm like, but what are you doing? Even when it was like a total fact. What are you doing? I'm about to explain to you what South Africans do, okay? So you can understand that BRICS schmicks. Frankly, I'm throwing one at you. Boot print on the face. That's what's up. I kicked you. And I won. Slam dunk. Wing, 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 wing. That's the sound of coins coming out of a slot machine because I hit the lottery. Booyah. Listen up, okay? Yeah, here in last, the pretty chick roaming the aisles of corporate South Africa, I interviewed successfully into a job. That means somebody thought I was worth a while to work that job. But no, I have these colleagues / friends that were like, you were here by mistake. You didn't actually pass grade 1 to matric. You did not do anything at all of value. You've never seen the annals of a university. And even then, even if you were sitting in a lecture hall, you failed. You are here by mistake. Like I just got picked up at a taxi rank and made to sit at a chair, go MTN and start working without an interview. Those were my friends. You know when God extracts you from an ecosystem, making sure that don't nobody touch you ever again, that treated you like trash because they didn't deserve you? That's what happened to me at the hands of ridiculous South Africans that frankly are represented by the sample that is not biased at all of whoever I used to know. South Africa looks like those colleagues. It looks like those former friends. It looks like those random rubbishes. And I will tell you why all of the country is like that, because it is like that. And if you're a South African, you are either a victim. I'm so sorry, girl. Wipe your tears, sister. Remove those tears. Don't nobody care about them in this country. Stop crying. Stop crying. If you're a victim, stop crying. If you're a perpetrator, whatever, I said boot print on your face, I'm on to you. I'm slapping you and I'm throwing your bricks in your face. That's what's good. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, don't nobody care. Don't nobody care because you got a boot print on your face now. You got a brick on your face now. You got metal on your face now. You're the pinata now. Why? Because I'm the one with the bat now. I am. You're shy, South Africa. I'm going to boot print you. I'm doing it because you deserve it. Okay? So you can't sit there as a South African be like, this girl needs to be more patriotic for what, for who? I'm living in a dystopia. This is a zombie land. I just live in it. So I ain't got nothing good to say about this. I don't. Anyway, so if you're a victim, hang 10. If you're a perpetrator, you might want to get the step in because, like I said, boot print. Anyway, Mamelane. Here lies the circumstance in South Africa. But like it's a circumstance I was dealing with. I'm in corporate South Africa, hopping around in there like a kangaroo or a bunny rabbit, embraced as an employee, earning the company some money every so often, stopped being an overhead, so I'm actually functionally operational in that environment. I'm more like a profit center than a cost center. But I've got colleagues that are trying to pretend like that's not a thing. Why? Because apparently, allegedly, it's not okay to be pretty and smart. So, random silly friends, random silly South Africans who do a silly thing, hang with me, please. This is not a vain thing. I'm not here trying to, herald or praise my glory. All up in your grill. I'm trying to help you understand what's going on in South Africa and how judged this silly country is and how it's on its way out. You know, like it's been expelled from a school, but it's fostering, rocking up, pitching in the classes every morning while a teacher is like, but like, weren't you expelled yesterday? It's over. It's only a matter of time before it stops being a whole going concern. Mamelang. So I'm rolling up and down, hopping up and down in there like a kangaroo, like I said, okay? And it's, I think the end of August type establishment thing. And we're all talking about the coming of spring, right? We're just walking up and down as colleagues, however, talking about non-collegial things, just regular conversation. They were more friends than they were colleagues, but they were friendly. We were friends over and above just being colleagues. That's what's good. And then, like, I'm like, oh my goodness, spring is coming on the 1st of September. Spring is coming. And then these bugaboos start laughing. Like, what? Literally, they could have been, like, yeah, I get to burp. Male and female, 7 of them. 7 to 8 of these colleagues of mine that I was walking, like, I remember it was between phase 1 and phase 2, that corridor. We were going back to phase 1 after doing something or coming back from some meeting for the business unit in phase 2. And we were talking about impending summer. And I was like, spring is coming, yay. You know, love me some spring. It's so awesome. 1st of September, yay. It's the beginning of spring. I said something along those lines, okay? And I got laughed at. I got laughed at by like 7 to 8 whole individuals that were like, yo, Karabo, spring, what are you talking about? Spring is already here. We're in August. Okay. And I'm like, guys, get August. It is August. This is the month of my birth. And I am known as a winter baby. I've always been a winter baby. Even my teachers in school knew that I was a winter baby. That's actually how I memorized the seasons. I know that winter begins at the beginning of spring because I know that the month of my birthday is the last month of winter in South Africa. Because that's how I study through mnemonics. Do you understand? Mnemonics is how it is that I memorize things. So, for instance, how it is that I learned the rainbow, the colors of the rainbow in chronological order was to come up with an acronym by the name of ROIGBIV, which is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. That's how I study. By mnemonics, cues. I come up with poems to remember things that, you know, would otherwise take forever and a day for me to just like bank in my brain. And I then, collect them out of my little proverbial brain library whenever I have to regurgitate them on paper in a test, etc. And it helps me remember a lot throughout life as well. I study through mnemonics. That is my way of learning. All right, I use mnemonic cues. And for me, to remember my birthday month as the last month of winter was a mnemonic cue to understand when the seasons start and when they end. I did this all the way back in grade like 5 or 6 or something when we were being taught the seasons. And I never forgot because of that mnemonic cue. It was linked to my birthday. All right, a teacher in primary school, it wasn't even grade 5, guys. It was even much younger than that, like a lot younger, perhaps like grade 3 or 2, like very young when they teach you seasons, etc. And it was using my birthday as a cue that enabled me to remember the seasons that I might not step on out of it. I also learned the months of the year, which ends on the 30th and which ends on the 31st. I learned them with knuckles, like January is the top part, February is the bottom grooved part. I can't use the other hand, guys. I'm using it to hold my phone up. So January, February, March, April, May. So January ends on the 31st, February ends on the 30th, March ends on the 31st, May ends on the 30th because it's inside the groove of the knuckle over here. And August and July both have got the 31st. Both of them are the 31st because you move on to the next knuckle and it's the raised part. This part over here. These are called knuckles, right? Whatever. This part, this raised part at the end of one hand also is the beginning of the next hand. So July and August both have 31. They both end on the 31st of the month, and then every leap year, which is every 4 years, then the January, so what does this, February ends on the 28th, and then on the 29th if it is a leap year type establishment thing. I know which year is a leap year because I was born on a leap year. I was born in 1984, so I literally can never ever miss a leap year because it's linked to my age. These are the mnemonic cues that I utilize, right? These are the mnemonic cues that I utilize in order to survive insanity from rando. So next year is a leap year. Why? Because I am turned 1980, let me think, 1984. Is it a leap year? Let me think. Okay, look, I'm not going to calculate that, but I tend to remember these things based on that. I don't even have to Google it because it's what I am grabbing out of my brainio in order for the life of me to remember stuff. That's how I have studied all throughout my life, and I still study to this day that way. So if you bring me an acronym, I'm happy with it because that's how I learn. You don't get to hook up a person that's been an academic all her life. Like all her life. She's been an academic all her life. I've been studying and I don't do 20%, I don't do 30, I don't do 50%. I get 80, I get 85, I get 90, I get 95. That's how I pass. You don't get to grab a child of that nature that grew up into an adult of that nature all the way into university. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then claim that she is wrong. When Nyanshaya, guys, Talang Nyanshaya, Katsutuwe, or something, please. I can't leave this thing open because next thing you're coming in here with a bird. That's what's good. Yeah. So herein lies the sister girl. I've been passing very well all throughout my life. Basic things that a lot of people never feel like what's going on. Cat, please just do what you want to do. I don't have time for this. Ish. Basic things that people used to fail, I passed, okay? I studied even mathematics with mnemonics. I studied science with mnemonics. Everything was a mnemonic cue. It was my study methodology. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I passed really well. So you would have to go back to primary school, high school. You would have to go to university and disagree with my lecturers, disagree with my teachers, disagree with the education that they gained that they might teach children, that I was wrong. Because herein lies the deal. Y'all average randos are chilling in the center of the normal distribution. I used to slay you in school. You just did not know me in school. But you're the dude that I used to slay in school. You're the chick I used to slay in school. It could not been denied. Because that was school. But now here it is that we're in corporate South Africa. And don't nobody see my academic transcript. Don't nobody have my report cards from school. And so for those reasons, people are trying to pretend like I'm not intelligent. They're trying to pretend like I just by mistake, happen to be here working at this particular organization. By mistake, I got the promotion that I got. By mistake, I grew as quickly as I did. By mistake. My eloquence, my gift of the gab, the gift of oratory that I've got going down for myself, like, no, that's not enough. Karabo. There are a whole bunch of people that can speak for themselves. You just went to a Larney school where you can twang a whole bunch. Your English, you roll it on your tongue. So for those reasons, it has nothing to do with the fact that you have a grasp on language, on literature, because you're smart. That's what's good. So it didn't matter that I was well spoken. It didn't matter that I just so happened to have been approved and agreed upon by those who were in a position to promote me out of bosses, that I was actually good at what I did, that I just mistakenly found myself. I happened upon jobs because whatever, like proper, or nepotism, something got me there, not my own skill. Here it is that I told you, I spoke about this in one of my other videos where it is that, I spoke about how back in the day before I used to know Jesus Christ, just for the sake of having friends, I used to dumb myself down that I might not be laughed at, because sometimes whenever I would open my mouth, my friends would start laughing because apparently what I'm saying is dumb. I call it the curse of beauty. Don't nobody want to believe that you can have both it and intelligence. It's the reason why I love people, even though they interview ridiculous pimps and make that horrible mistake like Candace Owens. I just absolutely adore to listen to a beautiful woman slay some crocodiles out here in these streets, because it is the bane of my existence to be called dumb purely because of the way that I look. It has been that for a minute, so I'm totally pro gorgeous chicks that are doing a thing, slapping everybody silly out here in these streets, being better than what they hope they would end up being. So I'm rolling around in this environment, having remembered the mnemonic cue that winter in my country ends on my birthday month, and I passed in grade 3 or 2 or whatever, that particular test. And I've been talking like that all throughout my student life, and teachers agreed with me. They did not be like, Karoba, don't say that in public. No teacher ever corrected me upon confirming or reiterating that which I was taught about the seasons. Something you learn at a very, very fundamental, rudimentary year of school. That's what's good, you guys, okay? But like these people were laughing at me for calling August the end of winter and spring the beginning. Basically, so the 1st of September, the beginning of spring. Okay? Yeah, and I'm like, August ends in winter. Sorry, winter ends at the end of August. And then they laughed at me. I was like, guys, but I've always known that I'm a winter baby. And then they started to make a joke out of that. Like, I properly kid you not, if those people were listening to me today, and I'm pretty sure that they're not listening today, but they will one day listen to me. They made a joke out of the term winter baby. Winter baby. Do you understand? All the way up until I lost everything. All the way up until I got fired without cause at MTN. All the way up until I started to get thrown, into persecution. This thing that has lasted an entire 9 years. Alright? All the way up until that point. People, whenever they would see me, that crew of friends or / colleagues, whenever they would see me, they'd be like, hello, ha ha ha, winter baby. Hello, ha ha ha, winter baby, like it was a joke. Why? Because I insisted that I'm a winter baby. Why? Because I was born in August. The windiest month of the year, the last one of winter. That is usually what happens in all countries. The last month of winter is the windiest, and it also is the one that is somewhat cracking a whip into entering into kind of being hot, right? That's what's good. Yeah. I was like, guys, I'm a winter baby, and they made a joke out of me being a winter baby. I then went on right ahead to take a step forward, and I was like, guys, the 1st of September in South Africa it's called Spring Day. It's called Spring Day. It might not be a public holiday, but it was literally named Spring Day on the calendar. Go look it up. It's called Spring Day. Every year, Honamo MTN, because yellow summer, there was a theme that like a company sort of kind of motto or whatever you want to call it. They used to call it yellow summer, and they would bring these barely dressed girls. I don't understand why they were barely dressed. This is a corporate anyway, chilling at the gates. What is going on? What is happening? I'm sorry, guys. Sorry, something happened that freaked me out over there, so I had to stop recording, save that content, and come back here and talk. Yeah, no, there were these naked girls, barely dressed, like they were wearing basically bikinis, like, go officing, what are you doing? Anyway, they were hired from like modeling agencies and what have you, and they would chill with little water guns at the entry of the company where, like, the boom gates and whatnot, and they would sprinkle like water on cars that were coming in if they didn't mind, type establishment thing, and they'd be like, yellow summer, and hand out little pamphlets if you were happy to take one. Yeah, and they did that like literally like clockwork as an idea for marketing to bring naked girls at an office as if though there are no salivating men out here in these streets. Anyway, whatever. On the 1st of September. It happened on the 1st of September. If the 1st of September happened to fall on a working day. Alright. Otherwise they do it on the Monday or whatever. Guys, it used to happen on the 1st of September, and I'm like, those funny little naked girls at the boom gates are gonna be a gadi one, guys, on the 1st of September, and they laughed at me and they kept on calling me a winter baby until, guess what, guys, I literally developed right there on the spot when all of your people are laughing at you, all your friends, like there is not even one that's standing with you. It's like, lebadile guy, where did you go to school? Not even one is standing with you. I got cognitive dissonance, like right there. I underestimated my own sense of reality. I got gaslit by them about winter ending at the end of August and spring beginning on the 1st, because they all laughed at me so much that I was like, Garabo, maybe you're wrong. I literally cowered like a little snail going back into its shell, and I was like, maybe I am wrong. Maybe I am wrong. Until I went to my desk, right? And I researched it. I Googled it. I literally typed into the computer, when does winter end in South Africa? Oh, what they insisted was that we were already in spring, that spring starts in August. What the heck? Where did you go to school? Where did you go to school? Because it was hot already. Remember I told you August is windy, but it also is cracking into being warm, right? It's cracking into being warm because, of course, like, the sun and everything, the earth has already kind of rotated to that position, blah, blah, etc. So it's starting to become summery, even though it is officially rather still declared winter. That's what's good. Based on just the fact that it was warm outside. Forget about the facts. Disregard the facts altogether. They then were like, Kispring. Spring starts in August and winter ends at the end of July, because July is still really very crazy cold. Winter ends at the end of July and spring begins in August because August is warm. I'm like, whoa, if that's your reasoning, if that's how you're going to like basically declare stuff, how about you move to the United States of America and become woke and then say that your gender really is very quite relative. It depends on how you wake up feeling like today. You could be a girl or a boy, and disregard altogether your XX or your XY chromosomes. Just absolutely disregard biology. You should go and live in America. Yeah, you should go and live in America because their facts are irrelevant. Science is irrelevant. That which has been proven biologically all throughout history, absolutely irrelevant. Hang out somewhere, even in like is it a blue state? Go and chill out in a blue state in America, like hang 10, Dabudi, California, something. Like, yeah, go and find yourself a little bit of a silly Chicago state. Yeah, just chill there. Hook up a little bit of a rainbow flag and say that I'm a girl, I was a girl, I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world, wrapped in plastic. It's fantastic. You can brush my hair and dress me everywhere, even though I was born male. Come on, kid, let's go party. I'm Barbie, yeah. You can be transformed from a Ken doll to a Barbie doll insofar as you're in California of the United States of America. Over and above it, you might even be a let-go paroled prisoner that frankly should still be there, but you're persecuting Caraba. Like, go on right ahead and live in the U.S. But ain't no room for none of that nonsense over here. But no, that was the beginning of the end. That was the beginning of the nosedive over there, eh? Like, I should have seen that, wait again, I'm going to get extracted out of corporate South Africa. I'm going to get kicked out of the synagogues like it is written in John 16, thrown out, and those who persecute me are going to do so thinking they're doing a service to God. I'm about to experience an expulsion. I'm about to experience an expulsion out of the country. Why? Because I'm still sensible, I'm still rational. I should have seen it coming, but instead I thought that, I guess we can agree to disagree. Askis, Askis. Winter ends at the end of August. Please, hurry, buddy. Sorry there. No, I'm sorry, no disagreement. Got cognitive dissonance, that's what's good. I was lambasted with gaslighting. I thoroughly started to twitch up a storm in my body about, I've believed a lie all my life. How could I? 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 Proper, it was like a broken cassette tape that way. How could I? How could I? How could I? How could I? Until I went to my desk and entered into the Google machine. Yeah, I made sure it wasn't even Wikipedia, but some reliable meteorological chart hooked up by some meteorologist. Like, it had to be a weather lady, someone that studied geography all the way up until university level. Can't be Wikipedia, that's not a source. It is run by the left in America, so don't trust it. Don't trust it. Walk away, be afraid, be very afraid of Wikipedia. Anyway, whatever. Yeah, so I went and I Googled it. Okay, trying to gauge veracity of these people, and guys, the computer confirmed it. The Google Scholar, the articles that I read, I literally went from I went through multiple websites, just reading and reading to try and see if maybe these people getting it from, maybe there's a difference of opinion. Perhaps there is a difference of opinion. You know how it is that, for instance, the millennials and Gen Zs and Generation X, etc., there are differences of opinion as to when the millennial age starts and when it ends. Give or take by 5 years. They're on a sliding scale of about 5 years. Some people can fall either into the category of Gen Zs instead of millennials because they were born around maybe 2000 and what is this, 1999, 1998, etc. So it's uncertain as to whether or not they're Gen Z or millennials type establishment thing. Similarly too with people born in 1980, 1979, 1981, it is there are some people who say that they are Generation X, others say that they're millennials type thing. Yeah, I thought maybe it was something like that, where on a sliding scale not everybody agrees. There is a difference of opinion at the beginning part of the millennial generation and at the end part of the Gen Z generation or the millennial generation as to where they actually fall. I thought it was something like that. That I thought South Africans were divided on when winter starts. I thought they were divided because some believe it's August, others believe it's September. But guys, there was not even a single article, no one on the internet, no source material that I read up agreed with them. Not even one. It was not a gray matter. It was not a gray area. There was no smoke screen. There was no sliding scale of agreement versus disagreement. It was cast in stone in a way that was irrefutable. That winter ends at the end of August, 31st of August, and it commences spring, that is on the 1st of September. And I went and I grabbed this 411, this information back to the entourage of friends / colleagues, and they still laughed at me. They still called me winter baby. I was like, as in, go live in California. Go there and then allow your child to transition and insist, all right, on like Leah Thomas, going on right ahead to swim with some ladies, even though he's a boy. Hamba wena. Join Olympics and go and lift weights as a man and then win the competition by I don't know how many thousands of points above the silver medalist. Yeah, because you decided that you're going to be a girl today. That's what's good. Yeah. And then compete in sports. Do that. You go to Babylon. Go to the country that disregards facts as facts. Because South Africa, you have become the Babylon of Africa. You have become the crazy country of Africa. You have become the woke district of Africa. You have become the namby-pamby Dumbo baby that does not even stop crying when given a pacifier of Africa. You have disregarded entirely your roots because you have inherited all manner and kinds of rubbish of countries that don't make sense and made it your bread and butter. You are neither hot nor cold, and because you're so lukewarm, God is going to spit you out of his mouth. You don't have a set value. You don't have an entrenched set of values anymore. You don't have guns that you're sticking to. You don't have a story that you're sticking to. South Africa. You're flaccid, you're fluid. And this is what the Bible has to say about you. You are tossed when over there, to and from, by every wind of doctrine. You are untrustworthy and you are unstable in all of your ways. When you pray, you don't even believe that the Lord is going to give you what it is that you ask for in prayer because you are not to be believed or taken seriously because you are unstable in all of your ways, according to God's word in the book of James. You have taken heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of demons. Everybody sways you left to right. Whenever somebody's like, woo woo, you go woo. Whenever somebody says guam guam, you go guam guam. You don't hold to something. You don't hold to anything that is being a gavel put down, gah, on your doorsteps. You don't hold to anything at all that you call a virtue. All of your former virtue is out the window. Everything goes for you, which is the reason why you are the biggest and baddest experimental hub in all of Africa for a country. Everything goes. Mzansi Afrika. Do you understand what I'm saying? Afrika de Sud. You have gathered for yourself a great number of teachers to teach you what your itching ears want to hear. So your primary school teacher taught you that winter begins at, ends July. Your primary school teacher was like a woke teacher chilling in the United States of America public school system, busy out here bringing drag queens to teach children an alternative sexuality. That's what's good. And then yelling at children in the United Kingdom over there who refuse to who are threatened that they're going to be in trouble if they don't accommodate or embrace the colorful agenda. Yeah, that's where you are. Your teachers are the kinds that bully kids in school to embrace the colorful agenda until a smart little child in class records this this thing that's going on, and then it trends like no man's business among right-wing activists across the world. That's what's good. You are flaccid, you are fluffy, you are tossed to and from by every wind of doctrine, and so therefore you are untrustworthy. The fact that back that day you refused for said beautiful Karabo to also be smart and therefore verify a fact. Even when I fact checked, you refused to believe. And guess who's got beautiful feet? Guess who's gorgeous out here in these streets? Christians. We've got real life, we've got real beauty, we have got real Jesus. That's what's good. And we're out there trying to correct some stuff and telling people what is rather true. But because just like a typical Christian, we are on a narrow road that leads to life that few people find, we're violently outnumbered. People therefore imagine that insofar as you can gather in your mellifluous numbers, your caucus of insensitivities, just hordes upon hordes of you, against the fact, then that causes that particular fact to start being shaky, to start, inspiring cognitive dissonance. That particular fact ceases to be, and so you can gaslight the living daylights out of that fact being true, and then you muddy the waters with your relative truth. Muddy the waters with your relative truth. So you gave me gaslighting vibes. You gave me cognitive dissonance. Do you understand what I'm saying? You made me second guess my own reality and the studies that I encountered, despite having been, wait for it, an A student pretty much all my life. So I was the passing girl. Yeah, I was never the kind of kid to sit at the back of the class because I was one of those irritating children whose teacher wanted at the front because they liked to stare me in the eye when they taught because they knew I was listening. That's who I was. Ambanyobuza Mrs. Peters was accounting in grade 8. Where is it I used to sit in her class? The one that used to call the kids that used to fail accounting rubbishes? Yeah, I used to sit in the front. She chose me to sit in the front and said I had an Irish accent. Who does not love Mrs. Peters? If you went to Sir John Adamson High School, shout out. That's what's good. I was that annoying girl. I would irritate the living daylights out of you, eskolweni. Mingbasa. So, I mean, was Mrs. Peters right? Was Mrs. Peters wrong? Sorry. Mrs. Peters calling all of the people, basically the entourage of human individuals that were encircling me, rubbishes. That teacher used to call kids that were underperforming in school rubbishes. Rubbishes, okay? So basically the rubbishes are the ones that are right now. That's what's good. The rubbishes are the ones that are right now. And the kids that used to sit in the front of the class because the teacher could only look at them in the face when he taught or she taught. Now they're the wrong ones. They're the wrong ones. It is wrong. Alright, guys, in this thing going on, I see it. I identify it. I look at it with a very sharp eye and I hit a bullseye. You know, I discover. I found it. I don't agree. I don't agree that winter commences, or rather winter ends at the end of July. I'm gonna have to beg to differ. I'm gonna have to beg to differ because that's what we need to do as Christians all the way up until the Lord God Almighty grab the church. We're gonna beg to differ. There are only two genders, or America, take it or leave it. We don't care. Only two genders, marriage is between man and woman only. Take it or leave it, but we don't care. We're holding on to it even though we're outnumbered. Drugs are wrong. Can't take psychedelic to go and attach to Jesus or some God in your own imagination. No, on that day you are under pharmakia, and frankly you are an abomination to Emmanuel. There's no right way about it. So drinking or smoking it up a storm with marijuana because it's legal in your state does not matter. Or in the eye of Jesus, it's still drugs. You are still entering your mind. You are still not sober, and on that day you are not appreciated in the kingdom of heaven. Depart from the Jesus. He will tell you to walk from him, worker of iniquity. Yes, understand that fact is fact, Fact is fact. It sits around, blow my ring in your chair, making like a flower. It just sits over there, even though you deny it. The truth is absolute, brother. The truth is absolute, sister. Take it. If you don't want to take it to you, me, I don't care. Or one day I'm going to be vindicated. So, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. The Bible says there, commit your way to Jesus, and he will do this one thing. He will make your righteousness shine like the dawn and the justice of your vindication like the noonday sun. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Take it or Jesus is gonna come and say, South Africa winter end at the end of August. Take it or leave it. I don't care. Understand that you don't get to go and twist the fundamental truth and make it your own liking. Go and just manufacture your own truths. On that day is not a truth. It's an opinion. You are sitting on an opinion that August is summer. August is spring. Yeah, it's an opinion, brother. But I'm coming here with a fact. I'm coming with a fact of days. That's what's good, and I make it clear, that August is the end of winter, and spring begin at the beginning of August, of September, but you won't believe me. I don't care. Depart from me, because you have not loved the truths, but I've taken pleasure in your unrighteousness. So depart. I will send you strong delusion, so you can believe in your winter that ends at the end of July. Go on right ahead and believe in your winter that does not at all exist in August. Go on and carry on with your spring that commenced at the beginning of August and see what's going to happen to you in eternity. See what's going to happen to you. Anyway, whatever. So these people went on right ahead to disagree the living daylights with me, until I gave them the facts to back up what it is that I was saying, and they still laughed at me. They still rejected the truth. That's a reprobate generation right there. And those people are a representative sample, no bias at all in it, of South Africa. People who are taking some of the biggest and baddest and brightest of its gems and putting them in squalor, in lowliness, and expect their nation to thrive. Mamelang South Africa. Just in the same way as you kicked me out of corporate South Africa, made me broke, do you understand? Like a leg. Just as you did that abomination. Yes. All in the name of I'm dumb. All in the name of I'm wrong. All in the name of I'm mistaken. All in the name of I don't matter. All in the name of there's more where they came from. Guys, you know what? Herein lies the normal distribution, okay? I used to absolutely adore my comp maths lecturer at Wits. I loved him because he was a Christian. Absolutely wonderful man, okay? He used to try and slide into the DMs of the students like the gospel without looking like he's evangelizing. So I'm grateful that he did that. Even though I wasn't born again, he made me think. He made me think real hard knock. He used to say that the normal distribution is evidence of God. It's evidence that there is a justifying force in the world that is keeping things in a balanced state so that they don't get thrown off their chart, off their bonkers, off their rockers or whatever, and so therefore be just chaos all over with no order. There is something balancing things out. And he's like, the normal distribution is evidence of God. He used to say that like proper in a lecture, and I'd be like, what a nice guy. Oh man. Anyway, whatever. So that was a really great lecturer. And his reasoning was along the lines, was using the normal distribution. Basically, everything tends toward a lot of things in nature. A lot. Like God's fingerprint is all over creation, guys. The Fibonacci sequence, the pi, constant, the seasons that come and go, and predictably the weather remains more or less what you expect it to be each season. Like, there is just so much in nature evidencing God. His fingerprint is all over. The shape of the atom that looks like the orphaneme angel, and the fact that the atom looks exactly like our galaxy, the Milky Way. If you look at the center, the sun of our galaxy, it is like the nucleus in an atom, and the planets are like whirling protons all over the show. Guys, it's hard not to see it. And the atom of which, like I said, it looks like that wheel described in Ezekiel that has many eyes in it rolling all over, and in the center there's one big fat chunky eye. It looks like an atom. It looks like our galaxy, the Milky Way. And if our whole bodies are made up of atoms, it means that the ubiquitousness or the omnipresence of God is inside our bodies, because it looks like the shape of one of God's favorite living creatures, which is the orphaneme that is around the throne of God. It's like, whoa, booyah! And that structure, that shape, was described way before science discovered an atom. An indivisible atom, which is at the very beginning point of all things. Nothing that is out here in these streets, not even your breath, does not have an atomic structure at its very foundational level. And that was something that was described by the Lord as one of the living creatures that Ezekiel, and I believe even, who's the other? Okay, so too did John in Revelation, but John did not get into a description of that particular living creature, but I think it was Ezekiel and Isaiah who described this living creature that looks exactly like an atom. It looks, never mind like an atom, but also like an orphaneme angel. So it appears to be God's favorite shape, so much that he made it at the foundation and the baseline of all created things. It's like, booyah! So those of you that are trying to disregard God Almighty as King, you're in trouble. His eyes are all inside your body, and yet you out here fornicating. What you doing? No, what you doing? Stop it, so hey, it displays the Lord's magnanimity as well, because the way we sin in these bodies that have got God's eyes all over says a lot about how much he's so long-suffering and forbearing of our insanity. Anyway, so not only is that like a whole entire thingy, my Bobby, gawking at you over there, that I'm losing my chain of thought. God, please take me back to where it is that I was at. I need to go back to where it is that I was at. The invisible qualities of God that are all over creation, disregarding of truth. I need to find my bearings. 1 minute. Yes. I was able to find my bearings. I had to go and re-listen to myself again so that I don't waste time trying to remember what I wanted to say. The normal distribution. So I was speaking about how all over creation, even within science, God's fingerprint is everywhere. The Fibonacci sequence is found all over the human body. It is found, I could go on. Now, the normal distribution is yet another example that my lecturer was saying is evidence of God, because of how creepily, accurately, so many things in society just fall within a normal distribution. There is a balance, like an ordinariness, an averageness about the earth. And only those things which are on the outliers then are, like I said, in the outliers. They skew, they are anomalies in society. But generally everything falls within a normal distribution. And so that's how we all keep law and order. People are often intimidated by that which they don't understand. So God makes sure that in each society, often everything that is thriving in it is more or less understandable by everyone around them. Meaning that they're not going to make war with it. They're not going to question it. They're not going to be frazzled by it or intimidated by it enough to disorder it or, discombobulate it in some way. So he made sure that on the earth, there are only a small number of paradigm shifters, only a small number of geniuses, only a small number of severely disadvantaged, but everybody is just more or less average. And using the example of a coin, for instance, coining a coin flip in the sky, on some and then it lands on the floor. You do this experiment in your own backyard in a vacuum. Of course, you cannot be moving from one place that has got wind and the other place has got a thunderstorm, the other place has got a hurricane, the other place has an earthquake. It has to be within a vacuum, an environment that is generally still with constant conditions encircling you. If you grab any coin and you toss it in the sky 100 times, literally within a normal distribution, so something for like between 45% to 60 to 55%, it's going to be 50% heads and 50% tails. 50%, half. Like, you will chart these dots on your particular Cartesian plane, and they will literally sit, most of the dots will hover in the center of that Cartesian plane, with half of them being slightly on the x-axis and half of them slightly on the y. Not on the y, sorry, the negative side of the positive side of the x-axis and the negative side of the x-axis, and they will also go to a height that is more or less determined even on the y-axis. Guys, that is what creates then the normal distribution, a parabola, essentially. And most things in society operate like that. Most. If you go and you grab the numbers of students in a university and you gauge their pass marks, most of them are going to be average, guys. Most of them are going to be rolling around from 45% to 55%. Most of them are going to be getting just enough. And then there will be a smaller number that are from 65 to 75%. An even smaller number will go from 75% to 80%. An even smaller number will go from 80% to 90%. An even smaller number will go from 90 to 100%. As I'm totally just kind of hitting that x-axis, never really reaching zero. And the same thing is also true of those who fail abysmally. Most of the students are going to be hovering more or less around the halfway mark, unless the stats are skewed for whatever reason. If it's like a violently tough subject like actuarial science, then indeed, because it is so hard, it is not expected for the average man to get it, because remember, it is the subject of genius children. So the graph will be skewed. It will not follow a normal distribution because the course is hard. However, if it is a relatively easy course or a doable course with not too much number crunching like psychology, the pass mark, the rate of the pass statistics will generally hover within the normal distribution because of the difficulty level of the course. Not everybody can do complex mathematics. Not everybody is a theoretical physicist gawking at you. They chill on the outliers of the normal distribution. Now let's grab intelligence as a constant that we are measuring here. Intelligence in society, most people tend to be of average intelligence. They are sitting slap bang in the center of the normal distribution. They do just enough. They get by with just a regular job. That's what's good. Right? So these people that are intelligent, so with the intelligence curve, like I said, from about 45% to about 55%, most people are just average, chilling in the center. And then those that really struggle to push at school, that have got learning disabilities and all different kinds of things, they will be on the left of the normal distribution from 45 to 35, and then from 35 to 25, and then from 25 to, and so on and so forth, until it eventually totally almost hits the x-axis at zero, where there is no ability at all for a person to even say 1 + 1 = 2, because they were born with either a mental illness or something unfortunate of that nature. And then you go to the far extreme of the normal distribution, where, like I said, you get the geniuses, Einsteins, that are sitting all the way on the right, basically almost hitting the flat, the curve, totally almost hitting the x-axis as an outlier, the way that it's just so few of them, they become asymptotal, just kind of tending towards eternity. That's what's good. So in any given society, there will be few geniuses, few really struggling learning disability people, and then most people will just kind of hover around in the center, and then there will be those on a sliding scale that just kind of, are below average. They are more in number, the below average, than the incredibly challenged, and so on and so forth. I could go on, right? So now if you go and you grab the people who are on the far extreme of this particular normal distribution, who are geniuses, like your Einsteins, etc., those guys, because they are so few in society, you can therefore expect in any given university that they will not make up the majority of students, meaning that these are the students that are taking hard subjects. These are people that are studying actuarial science. These are people that are studying advanced applied mathematics, and so their lecture halls are not teeming at the folds brimming, and even then the pass mark is not that high. So those are the graphs that will be skewed. Why will they be skewed? Because the original intelligence graph was already they were already sitting on the outliers. They were already sitting on the outliers. So you will find then this particular curve, the pass mark of it, the average pass mark of applied mathematics at level 4, like year 4, you will find it more towards the left of the normal distribution, because you're thoroughly getting very intelligent kids getting 30% because it's that hard to pass. So it is anomalous in that regard, because the bias, the sample was already not representative of the general population of intelligence. But in psychology, you're going to get kids who are, I guess, let's not call them children, they're so young that to me they feel like children. Anyway, whatever, you're going to get students that are going to more or less fulfill a normal distribution type passing up until all the way up until master's level, all the way up until doctorate level, because it's not that hard to pass. It is not that hard to pass. And so, that whole thing evidences some balancing force in all of creation. There is something that is making sure that humanity generally stays within a neat bunch. That's why societies are able to maintain a hegemonous peace within their ecosystems where they live for seasons, like very long seasons, like extended periods of time. 400 years it tends to be more or less the norm. The normal distributive number of how long empires last, if you think about it. Like, it's been like this number 400 that is all over the Bible, where kingdoms stay sort of kind of peaceful, or a particular status quo is remained. For 400 years. The Hebrews were slaves in Egypt for 400 years. But then what happens at the end of that 400-year season? When the Lord wants to change things over, when the Lord wants to give the Babylonian Empire over to the Grecian, and then to the Roman, and then to the clay with mud, revived Roman Empire. What does God do when he wants to crack a whip and changing that up a storm, and fixing it, and basically getting out of that? When God wants to abolish slavery in an ecosystem, because now year 400 has come and gone, what does he do? He raises up someone chilling on the outliers of the normal distribution, someone who is a paradigm shifter. They're few and far between. They are chilling on the far right of the normal distribution. They're the geniuses. They're the Einsteins. They are the people that cause people sitting on the normal distribution in the center here to change the curve altogether, to make something a new normal, to make something a brand spanking new normal. So they influence because they're that good, because they're that brilliant, they're that bright, they're so genius that they can change society's mind, and so move what they imagine as ordinary, simple and average to another part. So the whole graph moves. The whole graph moves, but still the society is still within an average space. It is still operating within a normal distribution, but the person that has shifted this paradigm is someone that was chilling already on the far extreme of the normal distribution. So industrial revolutions of this world that moved people from one way of operating to another were sparked by who? Geniuses in society. Now we have got an AI revolution that is coming. Who's doing that? Tell me, who's doing that? It's all the big, fat, chunky brainiacs of the earth that are sitting on the far extreme of the normal distribution. The actuarial science students, the ones who were admitted into very tough to get into courses at university. It is all the big minds of the world. It is Mark Zuckerberg. It is Bill Gates. It is, who is this Okima Bobby that is from my country? Elon Musk. They're the ones that are moving everybody over to the singularity. Yeah, artificial intelligence, even though they keep on warning against it. There are many other people whose names I could name, but really I'm not good at names unless I mnemonically make a decision to remember them. I told you I studied through mnemonics. That's what's good. So when then you are chilling as an average Jane or an average Joe in the center of the normal distribution, you understand? And then you try to like fart and pee and poop and spit on somebody that is on the far extreme because they're outnumbered. Understand? They're going to win over you. They're going to coup you. They're ultimately going to be enabled by God to do exactly what it is that they were supposed to do. They were born to shift a paradigm. Moses was born to shift a paradigm. He had to live in Pharaoh's household at the beginning of his life, following which he then was raised up to take the people of God out of the land of slavery and into the land of flowing with milk and honey. There was initial what? Resistance. Why? Because there is always resistance to change. Okay? And so the Hebrews passed him shade and were like, but who are you? Who do you think you are? Whenever a person is chilling on the far extreme of the normal distribution, on the right, I.E. genius, raised up by God, so that one day he would transfer a paradigm from one place to another. They will be hated at first. They will be spat on at first. They will be ostracized at first. They will have a hard knock life until they win the people over and then move them to where they need to go. And Moses did that not single-handedly. He was like, I'm stuttering. And so God gave him Aaron, but for the larger majority, he was the one raised up to do such a job as that. Outliers. And even in the wilderness, he was still an outlier. He was still the genius that people refused to embrace and accept, even though it was clear he was called. So those individuals that are to change society. Go and tell me how many of them lived happy lives where everybody from the very beginning of those happy lives absolutely loved them. A lot of them were challenged because literally everybody was trying to tell them that August is spring. It's funny now. But at the time it hurt. Who's laughing now? My lecturer at university told us that God is evident in the normal distribution because something is balancing society out to make it ordinary, normal, and not so chaotic. Yeah, but when the Lord is shifting a paradigm, he will cause war. He will cause disquiet in society. He will cause these average Janes and average Joes that do not want change to change kankane, because absent of change, there is extinction due. Absent of change, there is annihilation nigh. And so for those reasons, you are going to do exactly what it is that Moses has been sent to do in your life. You're going to follow him out of the land of slavery and hover around in the wilderness for 40 years. He's going to look over Canaan, land flowing with milk and honey, and then the youth is going to enter and take the land because that's what God intended to do. You don't just get to say, no, thank you, I will pass. You will die. You will be extinct. Literally, it is the equivalent of survival of the fittest, just without the acknowledgement or regard or respect for Charles Darwin because he was a fool. But it is about, like, take it or leave it. It probably gets to a point where it's take it or leave it. And South Africa is chilling in a plane as a bully zombie. Yeah, that's what's good. Trying to leave it. You with your winter that ends at the end of July and your spring in August. Take it to you. Take it. You can have it to you. I told you there is fire on the mountain and nobody seems to be on the run. Oh, there is fire on the mountaintop and no one is running. I've been warning for a minute. But like you sitting, literally anticipating that let's say if because BRICS is happening and America is shaking in its pantyhose over BRICS, allow me to communicate to you what's going on with your BRICS. So allow me to help you understand South Africa that it's over. Brother man, sister girl, no, it's finished. It's over. Oh. You might be sitting where you're sitting, flapping like a fish outside of the ocean, trying to breathe, but you are about to die. Like the kicks of a dying horse, so that's you kicking it, you are forceful, eh? Give up, oh! Throw in the towel, you want to live or not, see? The Lord has given you blessings and curses. Death no life, eh? Choose life, eh? Choose life! But you don't want to do it. I don't care, oh. Me with my bouncing makeup, I will get out and go and live in another country before they destroy you. They will destroy you. South Africa's over. Last night when I was working out, I saw the South African flag burning in a vision. I was like, yo, man, I need to exercise and finish my workout. I don't have time to focus on this country. I'm done, no. Born in the wrong environment. But you are busy telling me that I'm not a winter baby, laughing at me, making it a joke. They thoroughly made an anecdote out of the fact that I called my birth month winter. They made a joke. They would know this. Nebampita winter baby, guys. Winter baby. Winter baby. Until you Google it, you look it up, and you will know that in South Africa, summer begins. The month of summer does indeed begin. December, January, Feb, March, summer. Do you understand? Those are the seasons. So spring commences September, October, November. Spring is September, October, November. That's what's good. That is South Africa. Today is spring day. Even my Apple computer this morning literally woke me up saying happy spring day. There was like a notification on the corner saying happy spring day. So go buy an Apple computer that'll tell you that, or maybe even a Windows computer, anything. If it gives you notifications about holidays in the country that are set, inclined, in stone in these computers based on the country where you purchased it, and it tells you happy spring day, how are you still calling September the second month of spring? Why would any silly little country make a decision to call the second month of spring day, to call the first day of that month spring day, when they could just go 1 month back? They argued with me in this regard, evidencing the fact that South Africa was already in a downward spiral and I was outnumbered by all of them. Not even one person rocked up and said you were right. Nobody agreed with me. They just laughed at me because I did not get to be both intelligent and also smart. I didn't get to be right in this particular regard. Well, Christians are metaphorically, typologically much like me. Beautiful people that are treasure in jars of clay that people are just disagreeing with on essentials, and there is no changing your mind, and they will laugh at you when you mention the name of Jesus. Goodness gracious, I was reading the comments under Tom Hughes' video, one of them that I watched about 2 days ago, and he was speaking about how Jesus is a myth and Sarah is a myth. Yes, the whole thing was about Sarah. Oh, no. It was not Tom Hughes' video. It was actually a secular guy, right? So I'm very broody. You guys know I would love to be a mom, but it's not quite happening fast enough. So I saw this one short of this being covered by this one young man in the US of a woman that was 55 years old, finally pregnant, and she gave birth to triplets, and she had been longing for babies, for children, for a very long amount of time. However, her womb was closed, and she could not give birth. And then at 55, she finally fell pregnant, and she carried to term triplets. Okay. And this young man was busy talking about this whole phenomenon. And then I went to the comment section, and the people in the comment section were like, oh, she reminds me of Sarah. No, not of Sarah. Yeah, of Sarah, right? That's the one who had the baby at 90 in the Bible, right? Reminds me of Sarah. And then the other one was like, Rachel had a baby after 14 years of waiting. Rachel what Jacob, right? Type establishment thing. And I was like, yeah, Christians are commenting, good, yes, Sarah had the babies later, the baby eventually, and Rachel eventually also had the baby, even though her womb was closed for a season. And yeah, some people made mention of Hannah, etc. In the scriptures, yeah, etc. And then there were other comments, because it's a secular video, right, that was done by a secular guy. And literally somebody was saying that Sarah is a mythical creature. Whoa. Said that Rachel was a mythical creature. Oh, goodness, guys. Yazi, like, ubudom, like, this is just dumb. Like, to go and say that, I've read some people saying that Jesus was a mythical creation, like a myth, as in he never existed. How in the world are you going to just, like, say that? That's the kind of stuff that all cause embarrassment. Like, don't say that in public. It's one thing to reject Jesus as Messiah. Do you understand? But to say he was never born, not even the Jews who reject Jesus agree about that. They don't believe he's a fictional character. They know he was around. They just don't care to embrace his message. Like, the fact and the veracity of Jesus's life is in history. It's been journaled. It is in text, historical text. It is a provable existence. He actually lived. These kings written off in the Bible actually lived. They ran entire empires. If you read the Bible, you will find basically the map of the world. Many of the countries that have been renamed were in the Bible and are recognizably exactly where it is that they were at. For instance, Iran used to be called Persia, but it is known 100% by all the Iranians in there that it used to be Persia because it's their history. Egypt, like Abraham is a man that actually lived. Noah is a man that actually lived. Jesus is a man that actually lived. David is a man that actually lived. But there are people who so believe that the Bible is a myth that they will literally write off history because they've not studied. The Bible says, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. And because of rejecting this knowledge, God is then going to reject them from the land. That's what's good. In Hosea, I believe 4:6 or 4:8, that's then corrected. All right? Yeah. So when you in ignorance rock up and call Jesus a myth, just reject him. Like the Muslims, at least they acknowledge he existed. They call him a prophet, but they don't deny that he was ever born. They don't say he's a myth. Like, find stuff out before you speak nonsense. So these randos in my company where I used to work, who basically said that August is spring, I like ones who say that Jesus is a myth, or that Sarah is a myth, or that Rachel never existed. Like there are records, proof that these human beings existed. Sarah, of which is in the genealogy of Jesus, because she's the mother of many. Do you understand? She gave birth to the first child that will ultimately bring about the Son of Man. So you can't disregard that great grandmother. You just can't. You can't. You can ignore his message by all means. Pretend that he did not come here to die for us.
rescue our souls, but you can't pretend he never existed. It's like people trying to erase me off the face of the earth, and once I've died, be like, I was never born, except there are records, like entire hospital records of, never mind my birth, but many visits I made to the doctor, my footprint all over, like records even in schools where I was enrolled as a student. Like, it's all there. Like, you would have to go back in time and essentially put me back in my mother's womb, go back in time further, make sure I never get conceived in order for that to ever be true. So when the world is that hateful of the truth, to a point of not even fact-checking anything, and then you call Sarah a mythical creature, and you call Rachel a mythical creature, you call basically what is this, Bible characters that can provably be demonstrated as having existed insofar as you just did a little bit of study, digging in secular textbooks. You don't even have to go biblical. The sighting of Jesus, for instance, after his resurrection was recorded in books, chronicles, tablets that were secular and religious. So it is impossible to extinguish the fact of Christ from history. It's absolutely impossible, because he did exist, just like Caesar existed, just like Alexander the Great existed, just like Napoleon existed, just like Shaka Zulu existed. Like, they might, their stories might be so like mystical and so like cosmic warfare-y that you might want to write them off. But these are human beings that actually existed, and when you watch the documentary of them, as unbelievable as their feats were, they happened. Alexander the Great, for instance, is one that one might be tempted to pretend that didn't really happen, but it did. It absolutely did. So, I mean, really, ignore history by all means, only for you to one day be told Ustomjan. But we are living in a society that's trying to pretend that history did not happen. And they are doing everything in their power to even erase records from people's current understanding by refusing to teach it in schools to children. So these kids can grow up believing that this never happened. The Lord has shown me so very many times that in the millennial reign, there's going to be a record setting straight of historical accounts of things that happened. Real heroes that were written off in history as villains, and vice versa. That record is going to be set straight. So how history actually came to be, how the ultimate culmination of things came to be. There will be thorough understanding as to how it all truly happened. So kids are going to be educated the right truth in schools in the millennial reign of Jesus Christ. So those who believe that Sarah was a myth, there's about to be a forced curriculum, as in a compulsory curriculum in the millennial reign of Jesus Christ, explaining the genealogy of Jesus all the way back to Sarah with proof that is undeniable. That kids this time around might not be deceived, because it's a time coming where the devil, who is going to be, the devil is going to be put in the ground, in the abyss, in chains for 1,000 years, and so he will not be able to deceive the nations. So kids are going to be taught the right curriculum. For 1,000 years, that's going to be a thing. However, before then, people are going to be looking at Christians as whatever, you goody two-shoes Sandra D, bursting with virginity, won't go to bed till you're lawfully wed, teacher's pet, you're wrong. They're going to be doing that with us. Do you understand? Because they don't want the beauty and the glory of treasure in jars of clay to also be right, to also be smart, to also be the kid that passes in class with an A, to be chilling on the outliers of the normal distribution. Now, redemption is also similar to the normal distribution. And the Bible made it clear. The Lord said, we are born dead in trespasses and sins, and in sins did our parents conceive us. That most people are very frankly never going to choose him. That the road is narrow, that leads to life, and few there be that find it. And that to enter into the kingdom of heaven is a striving. Do you understand? And most people are just lazy, they're lethargic. They don't want to strive. They don't want to find out beyond that. And also the Bible says that no one can come to God unless he draws them. That many are called, but few are chosen. The veracity of that is already evidenced by the fact that Christians are obviously these people that are sitting on the far extreme of the normal distribution, on the outliers, like the geniuses that have discovered that this is a fallen system, and frankly it needs to shift over from just this average plane to somewhere better. This is a dying world that we need to enter, another world, in order to escape. And having discovered it, we therefore on the outliers, and very exquisitely outnumbered. And we are hated, we are persecuted because we are on the outliers, but we're the only ones that are in a place that ought to be gone to. And everybody else chilling in the center of the normal distribution with their average mindsets are agreeing that the doctrines of demons and destructive heresies that are being trained to them on the daily are truth. In clubbing with one another, they are banding literally with one another to disagree with the only people that are geniuses that have figured something out that apparently is so hard to enter into that few people find it. The narrow road that leads to life. Eternal life, that everybody else on this normal distribution in the center, as well as all the cold people that are on the far extreme on the other side. They're going to hell. And there's only one group going to heaven. They're on this other side of the normal distribution. On the right. On the far right. Okay, that's what I'm saying. And they are few and far between. And the veracity of God's word, the veracity of what they understand, their Berean nature. They've been trying to sing it on the rooftops. And everybody's like, ah! Ah! Oh! Ah! Ah! You and your Jesus! He's a myth! Whoa. Just like winter just like winter ends at the end of July. Just in the same way that spring starts in August. Okay, yeah. Jesus is a myth then, I guess. Yeah, until it becomes evidenced by proof all over the show. Evidences, invisible qualities of God all over creation that it is the reality. So South Africa, when I say you are a bully ghost, you are a bully zombie, something that is dead but you're a bully, that's exactly what you are. My family members have reduced me to a domestic servant and I've taken it in my stride because I want peace. That's exactly what I am. I've been belittled in the worst way. Just this morning, there was a heap of clothes waiting for me to go and hang more washing. Because I'm the new domestic worker, given that the old one either left or was fired. I don't know what happened over there. And this is something that I'm just taking one step at a time. Every day, it offends me, it hurts. But, we need to overlook offenses as Christians, turn the other cheek, because really, it's much better to live at peace with those that are in your environment than to be constantly striving with them. So I could complain, or I'm not a helper, I'm not a domestic worker woman. I get into, I'm not the thing that you're trying to make out of me, but that's just the thing that South Africa has done by loving witchcraft. That's why you're a finished off country, you with your BRICS. That's why I'm not even intimidated by your silly little BRICS. This is why you are dying, South Africa, because you go and you grab Trevor Noah. Let me think of South Africans that are current, that have been taken by other countries that have made better things out of those people in those countries. Trevor Noah, Elon Musk, who is this? Charlize Theron, Doja Cat. Who else can I think of that is a South African that is very prolific, well known across the world, that has moved to America? That's what's good. Yeah, well, South Africa, well, what you've done is the equivalent, what you've done to many of your geniuses in the country, what you've done to many of your biggest and baddest and brightest, because you love witchcraft, you have ripped out of people's lives, careers, you have taken people out from the society that they might make a better thing out of your country. They would have been paradigm shifters in your country. In other words, made your nation a better thing. These power cut crises that you're experiencing, just this morning, even our solar panels were dead. Not solar panels, sorry, but even our electricity was gone because there was a power cut for 24 hours. And in the night, the thing that charges electricity for us to continue to get it when there is no sun, it's electricity. And so because it was gone all night long, 24 hours, there was a power cut in my neighborhood type thing. The power died in the wee hours of the morning, and I knew that was a thing because I told you I sleep with a fan that's like go 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 all night long. So the fan went quiet. It's become like white noise to me. I no longer even wince at the sound of the fan. The fan went quiet, and it also got quite hot, and that's how I knew that the solar power is gone. Like the battery is flat because there is no electricity. So when then we get such long power cuts that even people that have got solar panels sometimes have to struggle with a power cut because there is such a long period of time for power cuts that in the night the solar power from the sun cannot charge the system anymore. When that is the country that you're living in, where even generators start to flop, where alternative means of energy no longer work because they also need pockets of electricity operating. Yeah, when power cuts last for that long, your country's dead. It's gone. And the people who have been trying to innovate alternative solutions for electricity and power in this country, you have so envied their intelligence, their giftedness, that you have bewitched them out from corporate South Africa, from entrepreneurial spaces of South Africa. You've bewitched them from the Indabas meetings, from chairing meetings. You have hated their leadership. You have hated the prospect of them getting where they need to get. You have taken whistleblowers and silenced them by either killing them or intimidating them until they leave the country. You have looted it into oblivion. You have, set free people that should be in prison, just like America. You know, Jacob Zuma, the fact that he's back dying, I don't understand what's going on over there. That is this country. It is setting criminals free. I apologize if there is a speech lag, please. As long as you are getting the audio, that's all that matters right now. All right. Jacob Zuma Walona is hanging out going Gandla. He's been set free. And we all know how he loves to hang out with Nabo Hubert Angel, Nabo Bushiri. He hangs out with false preachers in this country with fake miracles that are deceiving the masses that are also charlatans. They're criminals. So Jacob Zuma is obviously a little witchy man. That's what's good. And he's been set free because he knew A couple of people that can cast a few spells until he got medical parole. And guess what Jacob Zuma's release has also done in the country? Guess what it's done? Batung, South Africa. I just want to save this. My phone is so hot that I need to stop talking now because it's going to switch off. And that's another challenge that I'm going to be facing in summer, which is why I don't like summer anymore. But anyway, Jacob Zuma, what his release has done, even though he was supposed to spend however many years in prison, I don't know what the term they gave him was, but he got out on medical parole, just like what favor they also pulled for Oscar Pistorius. Like, insofar as you have enough money, insofar as you have this, you can get out of prison scot-free without really serving your time, etc. It has set a precedent. Yo, how unfortunate. Common law, guys. It has set a precedent for anybody else at all that feels as if though they've been in the prison infirmary 6 times in 1 week. Too much for them to stay in prison, so they get to go. A person can make themselves sick by eating wrong or not eating or by ingesting something. I don't know, guys. There are so many ways that a person can make themselves sick, and this thing has created a precedent in the country to let a whole bunch of people out on medical parole and then put on house arrest. And Jacob Zuma's thing that he's done has set a precedent to a point where they're digging up cases of criminals in prison that they now are thinking of setting free because they set Jacob Zuma free. It's another America. I told you, South Africa has just inherited all the vices of the earth, but none of the virtues. All the vices of the earth, but none of the virtues. So just as they have set free an animal out of a cage that is now persecuting the living daylights out of me in America, so too are they busy setting animals free out of cages in our country. And so, really and truly, I don't care about your whole BRICS thing. This is what's good. Do you understand? Mzansi Afrika suit. Verstaan julle die ding. Kuphelile ngani, it's over. Yo, bully zombies. Imagine grabbing Trevor Noah. Let's also take Doja Cat, even though she's lived all her life in America. We all know that Papa Haike Papa action. Her dad is Casper from Yuzo Yuzo or whatever that dude was, Sarafina, etc. So she's half South African and half American. That is Doja Cat right there. So let's grab Doja Cat. Let's grab Trevor Noah. Let's grab Charlize Theron. Let's grab Elon Musk. All stars of the earth, right? That are well known by everybody. And some people know that they're from South Africa. Others, however, just imagine they've always been in the US. That's what's good. Now, imagine taking, let's start with Trevor Noah, and bewitching the living daylights out of him until he is basically making sandwiches at a canteen or a coffee shop at MTN. Because you so envy him, because you so covet him, you then bewitch all his prospects out of his life until the thing that he would have been is diminished from history altogether, to a point where no one could ever fathom that it could ever be his future. And now he's busy making little light jokes to staff members of MTN who are ordering cappuccinos and sandwiches in the morning. Yeah. Imagine Trevor Noah. Apere overall in Jeffel. Ko kantining a rekisa di sandwich. Yeah. And then imagine Charlize Theron. Chilling still in Benoni after being bewitched like no man's business, being the baby mama 12 times over of some man that beats her up like no man's business, and she is sitting at home as a stay-at-home wife that every so often sells like makipkipile magwenya outside of her house just to make ends meet, because her best friend decided to bewitch the living daylights out of her that she might never make it to Hollywood. So here is another person erased from the glory of what she would have become in the future altogether, to a point where the world does not know her, but they could have, if they had just let her make like Nelly Furtado and fly like a bird. So now Charlize Theron is a baby mama of 12 of some deadbeat husband that beats her up and sells my kipi. Trevor Noah is selling sandwiches at MTN, and working at the canteen over there. And then Doja Cat, busy javela amapiano on TikTok. Do you understand? Given that she's got dance skills, everybody knows that Doja Cat can dance like no man's business. Okay, and she's busy trying to move her body left to right since she's got these skills. Mapiano nyana, with like a small little following of 500 people. Struggling to make ends meet, right? Working some 9-to-5 job, go corporate South Africa as a call center agent. Because somebody bewitched the living daylights out of all of her giftedness that she could not for the life of her break through at all into what she rather wanted to do. So all she's doing rather is using her little skill to entertain some people. That's what's good. That's Doja Cat. So Trevor Noah selling sandwiches. Charlize Theron is the baby mama many times over of a man that beats her up, chilling Kobinoni, selling my kipi outside of her house. Doja Cat has a small little following of like 1,000 people on TikTok, piano, also working a call center job in corporate South Africa. And Elon Musk. is a mechanic. Yeah. Is a mechanic that, just really likes fixing cars, redoing them over, and every so often gets attitude from clients who, for the life of them, don't like the service that he gave them. And then he goes back home to a wife with whom he's just really struggling. The two of them are always just fighting. They're always arguing over the fact that he is not bringing in enough money and the babies don't have school uniforms. That's Elon Musk. But his genius is still there. Doja Cat's talent is still there. So too is Trevor Noah's comedic genius still there. So too is Charlize Theron's incredible glory, beauty, and acting talent still there. But she never quite managed to crack it because they all got bewitched by the entire ecosystem before they could get anywhere. South Africa. I guess they escaped South Africa. Trevor escaped. Charlize escaped. Doja, her mom was already an American. And who is this? Escaped. Charlize Theron escaped. The futility of South Africa. And then America drained the living daylights out of them, juiced them. And now who in the world does not know who Elon Musk, especially Elon Musk, is? Who? Who does not know who Elon Musk is? Elon Musk is inevitably going to move to Europe. That's going to happen. Because in the Antichrist reign, they're going to need him and his Neuralink. They're going to need his genius in order to foster the beast system. Elon Musk is going to get snatched up again by another continent that's not falling apart, because America is inevitably falling apart. America is going to fall, so they're going to take Elon Musk for themselves. As for Charlize Theron and Trevor Noah, I don't really know what's going to happen with them, but the thing that America has done for decades now, taking some of the biggest and baddest skills of countries that quite frankly don't understand what they have in people. They are still trying to do it, all right? However, in a very clandestine, covert way. I already spoke about that. Where America is trying to drain, as with slave labor, African talent, and they're selling it to American content creators to keep themselves strong. This thing is going to drain the African conglomerate, especially those belonging to BRICS, because of the evil of Africa, and especially of South Africa. You, who is the sore thumb in Africa because you don't stand on any values at all. You are just tossed to and from by every wind of doctrine. America is going to continue to steal your people. That's what's good. So the glory that would have been in your country, Elon Musk, of which, by the way, offered South Africa a deal with Starlink, and South Africa was like, you must give us 30% and then we will talk, and Elon Musk was like, I'm sorry, you and your corruption, it's okay. Starlink, of which would have done what? Give internet access to people in the rural areas of which are in dire need of access to the internet, because there are people there sitting without ID books, and so therefore can't get jobs, can't even write matric. And if they had internet, they could tap into the Home Affairs database and apply remotely and only take the trip to Johannesburg once their ID is to be collected. Otherwise, for you to queue for 10,000 hours at the Home Affairs is going to take forever and a day. These are the kinds of things that people then in the rural areas would have access to. Plus, creating a whole online career for yourself, because you've got access in the rural areas without having to go to a city center, without having to go to Johannesburg, without having to go to Cape Town or Durban. You can just chill there, go the dusty streets of Rusty Dusty, and still access internet because of Elon Musk. It would have benefited the country's economy violently. It would have benefited us very handsomely, but then the South African government was too corrupt to work with Elon Musk without it being without there being something in it for them. So they shot themselves in the foot and passed that up. Guess who's taking up that whole Starlink deal? Nigeria. Nigeria, of which is what? Africa's leading economy. Why are they the leading economy when we are Africa's most industrialized economy, and at some point we're the fastest growing economy in Africa, and now Nigeria has taken us over? Because we are defeatist. We keep shooting ourselves in the incredible foot. So for those reasons, it's over for you, South Africa. You have taken your baddest and your brightest and you've thrown them away. Just as corporate South Africa lied against me, caused me to even lose a case that I had exculpatory evidence for at the CCMA, made everybody therefore look at me like I stank, put a gaping hole in my CV that I might never be looked at by anybody else ever again very seriously. And so one of your geniuses, frankly your Elon Musk, one of your Elon Musks, one of your Charlize Therons, one of your Trevor Noahs, one of your Doja Cats, is sitting at the back of her mother's house gathering dust, literally every single day, unable to come up for air, with no money, going nowhere, doing nothing, because you properly want to believe that winter ends ka July, and that August is spring, and that August is the beginning of spring. You have gone and taken the only person that could invalidate the lie that you were sitting on, the only person that gave you the truth of what is rather the season that we were in. You took her, you blasphemed the Lord in persecuting the living daylights out of her, called her dumb, told her that whatever, Karabo, go just be a model or something. Go be pretty, smile, take some photos and put them on Facebook. But do not come here and start to speak fact. Do not come here and speak anything at all of an intelligent nature, because we refuse to embrace that you can be treasure in jars of clay. We refuse to embrace that a person can be right and be just incredibly, like, in a spectrum, kaleidoscopically gifted. And so therefore benefit our nation. I was a paradigm shifter, and you grabbed a paradigm shifter of that nature. A man in this world that is responsible for an impending AI apocalypse is from South Africa. His name is Elon Musk. Those are the kinds of people that are in our country, and they are born to do great things with a massive amount of talentedness and giftedness. And South Africans, with their adoration of sorcery, have extracted them out of the workforce. And now they are being treated like rubbish by their own families, who are belittling the living daylights out of them, making them domestic workers, when at the backs of their mothers' houses, these are the kinds of things they speak every single day. This is the level of influence that I would have had over a world of people that are making sure I don't get hurt. They keep bewitching my content. They are sitting on my talent. They are making sure I don't go anywhere. And America is juicing this particular camel. It's juicing this little cow. It is draining the blood out of it, exsanguinating the living daylights out of it entirely, because it realizes that she belongs to a country that does not care to recognize her as a potential Elon Musk. Her nation literally does not care that they're sitting on the chest of a proverbial Trevor Noah. They're just sitting on her. Bamujutsi. And if you think about Trevor, he's a funny guy. He's a comedic genius, right? As am I. If you think about Doja Cat, she can dance like no man's business and sing, as can I. Like, literally, every last one of these talents that Americans have drained as with a straw. They've drunk it out of South Africa, out of many countries in Africa, made little Hollywood stars. Look at how it is that they're now currently taking Utuso Mbedu. That's what's good. Who was another one that they keep offering, like they tried to offer Pearl Tusi, Nomza Mombata, etc. And I mean, the moment these people start to see dollars, it's like, look, I might be patriotic and all about proudly South African, but if I'm going to be making dollars and if I'm going to be recognized in Hollywood, that's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. So never mind entertainment industry stars. Right? Let's now talk about the African diaspora from corporate South Africa, people that don't get seen. So never mind the celebrities like Trevor Noah, but late Janes and late Jones with genius talent that are sitting in corporates in America. How many of them are there? There is already a problem with the African diaspora. Many presidents across Africa are crying that skilled Africans are moving to the West. And South Africa is not exempt from that particular hard cry. We have got a violent skills exodus out of South Africa right now happening. And it's been happening for the past couple of years, because we are being drank as with a straw by Western countries that are strengthening themselves with the biggest and brightest stars of the nation, because the nation is busy persecuting the living daylights out of them. If you are a paradigm shifter in this country, if you are intelligent, if you are gifted, if you are sitting on the far extreme right of the normal distribution, so you're one of those people that can change an entire ecosystem's mind, you get quickly just drunk as with a straw, a milkshake out of it. By Western countries, the African diaspora. I was inevitably going to be an African diaspora if I had stayed in corporate South Africa. Inevitably. I was not going to stay in the country. I was not going to stay in South Africa. It would have frustrated the living daylights out of me, and I would have been headhunted. But before any of that could happen, I was growing so fast. Within just 2.5 to 3 years of being promoted to a project manager, I was promoted to program manager above people that had been in project management for years. I was that good. For like almost a decade. I was that gifted. And it was at the point of being a program manager that all of a sudden then people were like, no, I'm sorry. And they kicked me out of corporate South Africa, leaving me unemployable. For a decade now almost have I been unemployed, because I look as if though I irresponsibly messed up with my life and I lost my case at the CCMA. Have not been rehired by any company or even interviewed even once ever since then. Guys, what is going on? A woman this gifted. I was inevitably going to leave South Africa. It was inevitable. It was inevitable. I was inevitably going to get hunted by some nation in the West. I was an African diaspora in the making. And I got wrenched out of it because South Africans decided to pull my panties down. However, those whose panties they did not prosper to pull down have moved anyway. They have left. Why have they allowed themselves to be moved to other countries despite being patriotic for their countries and actually loving their nations? Why have they done that? Why have they done that? Because the weight to carry of lukewarm, mediocre, normal distribution, chilling in the center people on those that are geniuses is too heavy sometimes to carry. And so to move to a nation that has embraced the genius version of you, a nation that has embraced the paradigm shifted component of you, a nation that has already moved to the height that you are trying to move yours to, it's just easier. It's easier. The resistance, the rebellion against skills and giftedness in this country, holding on to power like Robert Mugabe at the height of his at the height of his insanity in Zimbabwe. That is what is causing a lot of people to leave in Africa, and in South Africa in particular. It's just too much work to try and convince people to do things better, to try and improve processes. When I was working at MTN, I was, for the life of me, I could not understand why they maintained themselves in such a lack of efficacy over basic processes, like things that could so streamline, improve everything that we're doing. They were taking 10,000 years to agree that this needs to happen. And because the credit would then go to Karabo for recommending this, they then sat on it and decided not to do anything about it, even though it would have improved how the company's processes for that particular business unit anyway would have worked. Just because they were so competitive, they refused to let me thrive. They refused to let me jive. They refused to let me work. Do you understand? They refuse to give people credit where it's due. I don't know how many ideas I have presented or tabled back when I was working in corporate South Africa that people tried to pretend were nonsensical. Until 3-4 months later, the same idea has been employed. However, it was spoken in a meeting by another person who had access to bigger people that would then be like, congratulations, yes, I like the idea. Wow, good thinking. Like, thanks for thinking on your feet. You're a thought leader. And I would watch this stuff and just move on. However, the frustration of having that much theft happen against me, goodness gracious, even in my meetings, I used to have these people that would get so jealous, so green, that they would take over and speak over me. And in Najranong, I'm not rude like that. When a person is speaking, I shut up. I immediately keep quiet and allow them to have their word. But I started to notice that there was this one girl, for instance, she was a segment manager. I would speak in my meetings. She would then start to speak. I would keep quiet. When then she would finish, I would try to talk again. And when I would then be in the middle of my sentence, she would interject again to a point of literally taking over my entire meeting. I got so frustrated with her that I wanted to send her to the side and just feel like, but she ended up quitting her job at MTN because she got another opportunity somewhere else. So I was like, good riddance. That's the kind of stuff that happens in South Africa. Mediocre folk are playing dirty at the expense of the country, grabbing the geniuses that can shift the entire economy to the right and killing them. People that are in a position to innovate out of this apartheid crisis are nowhere to be found. They've been smothered and silenced. People who are in a position to innovate out of this gender-based violence issue, people who are in a position to innovate out of all the socioeconomic issues that we have in this country, especially the unemployment, they are doing away with them. Entrepreneurs just gawking at you. I would have inevitably left South Africa. I was going to get headhunted by some other nation, and I was going to go, even though I was a patriot for this land. I was going to be so frustrated that I would have eventually literally allowed myself to live somewhere else, even though I was going to be uncomfortable for a season. So the skills exodus accounts in this land. It can can account for why it is that the country is not coming back up for air again. The diaspora, we can't breathe. And everything is falling apart. Why? Because all that's left here are these mediocre randos that don't want change. They just want to keep a company average, doing just enough, barely making their bottom line, breaking freaking even. They want to keep South Africa breaking even because they are breaking even. They're average. They're slap bang in the center of the normal distribution, are not moving left or right. Just average Janes and Joes out here passing with 50-60%. Nothing more, nothing less. Just doing enough. Paying your rent, paying your bond, earning a salary that belongs to someone else, even though, frankly, you can't even do your job. I lost my job to favor being given to somebody that I trained to be a project manager. She came in with no skill. She came in with no experience. And my boss hired her in a very senior team of project managers. Could not understand what was going on there. Everybody could not stand her, and I trained her up. 3 years later, she betrayed the crap out of me. And she and my boss banded together against me to sabotage me out of my job. My new boss, the new one that would come afterwards. Because there was a whole staff restructure, and so we got a new boss. That's what's good. I was sabotaged out of a job because I was whistleblowing against unsavory business practices. And so for them, it was like good riddance. We're all just going to band together and pretend that this did not happen. And now I don't know who is running corporate South Africa or what's going on in there. I don't know who is working there. But one thing I can tell you is that the statistics of the economy speak shouts. They speak volumes. I might not be there to read their numbers at the end of the year or even gauge the prosperity of any organization. I might not even be trying to find out what's happening. But just the current state of the country, the fact that we are grey listed, the fact that we are junk status according to ratings agencies, the fact that we've got an ongoing power cut crisis, it says that corporate South Africa has got nothing but lay mediocre Janes and Joes, keeping companies average while the world is progressing, while the world is growing. At rapid speed. South Africa is just staying average, ever so mediocre, like a blob of jelly, just staying in one spot after you move it left, and it kind of jiggles until it stands exactly stationary and still where it is that it was originally at. There is no economic growth, or if all there is any, it's very little. And no, the virus, the pandemic, has got very little to do with it, because South Africa was already on a downward spiral even before the pandemic hit us. So, I mean, really and truly, go on right ahead and grab your Trevor Noahs and put them in canteens selling sandwiches. Grab your Charlize Therons and make them the wives of men who beat them up and properly just selling magwenya outside of their houses. Go out and grab your Doja Cats and make them have a small little following on TikTok of 500 people watching them Javela piano with a call center job in corporate. Do that. Grab your Elon Musk and make him a mechanical Lugisandi Koloi that's always fighting with his wife because he can't afford to buy the children's uniforms because his salary is not big enough. Keep doing that. And watch not only your skills continue to be drained out of your country, but also watch these people become so prolific once they are somewhere else, evidencing therefore that something was thwarting them in South Africa. Something was making sure that they can't get to the height of where they needed to get in South Africa, so they had to move. If anything, that's what Elon Musk said about what inspired him to move to America. He said that he saw that in South Africa he was going to be very restricted. He was going to be very restricted in his growth. He needed to go somewhere where the paradigm had already shifted, and basically the ground was made fertile for him to do what he wanted to do, so he went to America. He made like Eddie Murphy and he came to America. That's what Elon Musk did. I would have inevitably moved. Maybe not the US. I think more than likely the UK is where I would have gone, and I would not have looked back. I would not have looked back. I would have likely married a man right there, had the children right there, and just stayed there and only visited home every so often. And when I was home, I'd be like, oh goodness, the power cuts, they've started again. But unfortunately, my life source was cut short before I could get there. But I was already experiencing the frustration of being in a country where mediocre people are weighing strong men and women down. They're dragging them to through the mud. That's what's good. My unemployment is unacceptable entirely. But there is a judgment coming on South Africa. Like I said, it's a zombie, but a bully zombie. I'm the one here with the lifeblood in me, yet it is bullying me. South Africa will continue to make me a domestic servant in my mother's house. Every second day. Washing dishes every second day. Make out of me a Cinderella when I'm entirely viable. South Africa will continue to do that until I am nowhere to be found on its shores. It's over for you, South Africa. You will be drained like no man's business. And this little alliance, BRICS, you know why you should not lean on it? Why you should not swing like Sia on a chandelier in joy over BRICS, over the fear of the United States of America shaking in their pantyhose over the BRICS alliance to a point of in and of themselves partaking in unsavory international practices, afflicting Africans. Do you want to know why BRICS is not going to help you out very much, South Africa? Because while BRICS will continue to grow from strength to strength, South Africa won't. South Africa in and of itself won't. It's being annihilated. BRICS has to grow strong. Why? Because the battle of Gog na Magog. Do you understand? In Ezekiel 37:38, or is it 38:39? Yes, it has to happen. And the thing that's going to facilitate its bravado is BRICS. Because if you look at the alliance of countries, Baba BRICS, Iran has been invited and accepted. Yesterday I said that I wasn't sure if they embraced or accepted it, but I know now that they have. Ethiopia belongs to BRICS now. So too does Egypt belong to BRICS now. Is this giving you goosebumps yet? So too does Iran. I mentioned Iran and the UAE, Argentina and Brazil. So it's the original countries: Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. That's the acronym BRICS. The countries that they have approved in BRICS, even though they've been more that have applied, that are now officially part of BRICS, extra ones, are Ethiopia, Egypt, Argentina, Iran, and the UAE. If you go and you read the Battle of Gog na Magog in Ezekiel 38:39, or is it 37:38, I stand corrected. Surrounding nations of Israel are the ones that go in with a braveness like King Kong on a mountaintop, bashing his chest and ululating to go and grab Israel, plunder it, loot it, because they have decimated Israel's allies and no one is coming for Israel. So God is the one that fights that Gog and Magog war on behalf of them. Okay? He helps them along. He's the one that supernaturally delivers them, and I do believe that Gog and Magog is going to happen shortly after the rapture. Okay? And the reason why they're going to be given bravado to plunder Israel is because the US will already have been decimated, likely by the rapture, and Europe, the EU, is not going to be happy to fight Vladimir Putin when he is doing his little hostile takeover strategy over other countries in the world. because it will be self-preserving given that they will have annihilated the USA. So they're going to rather choose to stand back and do nothing. And this will also be at the will of God, because the Lord has to keep Europe strong for the sake of the Antichrist regime being strong. The Antichrist will rise from a revived Roman Empire. So it will be in Europe. So Europe is going to basically turn its back against America. America will be lambasted after the rapture by Vladimir Putin, who will be given bravado, not Vladimir Putin, but that alliance, BRICS. And then once BRICS has prospered to take America, the whole continent, and leave it basically laying waste, destitute, as hollow not an ash, a fragment or figment of what it used to be, they will be so brazen and so brave after taking Ukraine and after taking America, that they will then be like, Israel is just another little country. Come on, it's like slap bang in the center of the Middle East, and it's so small, ain't nothing wrong here. And then they're going to have the bravado to do it. And if you read the nations that encircle, that come up against Israel in the Gog and Magog battle, Ethiopia, Egypt, Iran, is maybe not so much the UAE, but the UAE might be in there. It's basically all the Arabic and northern African, guys, it gives me goosebumps. Northern African countries. The northern, so South Africa, crickets, like crickets, country, it's over for you. It's the northern African countries that are largely Islamic, all right, in Africa, that take over, that come together, like I said, bashing their chest on a mountaintop like King Kong and mutilating, woo, 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 against Israel. And that alliance is already being fostered. It's eerie, it's creepy, it's the kind of stuff that will give you goosebumps when you see Bible prophecy unfolding right before your own eyes. Brazil has been apprehensive about the whole BRICS alliance all along, but it's kind of like hanging tin, and Brazil is the one that invited Argentina. Now, I don't think Argentina and Brazil are going to be allying in BRICS against against the Israel. But Ethiopia is going to be enough. So too will Egypt be enough, and so too will all the other surrounding nations. Now, once they have brought Iran into this, it's only a matter of time before Iraq, before Lebanon, before all the other countries in the Middle East that have a bone to pick with Israel also agree to join BRICS, or ally or unleash themselves to them. These are countries that want to, they want to de-dollarize themselves, because remember, America, every time you hurt them, or every time you do something strange of an international human rights nature, rightly so sometimes do they then sanction these countries, right? So America has been very protective of human rights across the world by sanctioning nations that don't care for human rights. Nations like the UAE, nations like Iran, Iraq, nations like much of the Middle East, like, is just disregarding of human rights a lot. And there's also been infractions chilling there in India, right, against human rights, violations of that nature. And the US has gone on right ahead to slap these places with sanctions, economically crippling them, making it impossible for them to negotiate anything at all. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, so that's what's good. So now if they can de-dollarize themselves and also operate in local currencies, there is a noise coming from outside telling me it's my cue now to be done. Anyway, they want to de-dollarize, and they also want to start using local currency, so that even if America is like, mwah, do you understand what I'm saying? They're going to be like, whatever, we don't care. Now, if you think, this noise outside is really just getting to me, but I'm going to try and talk over it. If you think about, for instance, what America is saying to Uganda, saying that you better get your act together in legalizing gay marriage or else. And that or else is a big fat or else, because you're threatening humanitarian aid, you're threatening all different kinds of support, you're threatening sanctions, blah, blah. And that can economically cripple Uganda. So Uganda will then be like, yes, then I'm joining BRICS because America's threatening me because I won't allow gay people to marry in my country. And some of them even face a death penalty if they come against children. So more African countries, especially northern African countries, are going to ally or unleash themselves to BRICS. And then there's going to be enough of a coalition of North African countries, Middle Eastern countries, and then some countries in Europe, maybe like Turkey, perhaps, who is this Mabobi guy? Russia. They're going to then be this, like, firestorm around Israel. Jerusalem will then be a cup of trembling. Everybody around them is going to shake. God is going to basically deliver them. And then the whole world will know that the Lord God did this. And this will be an evangelistic endeavor. It'll be a revivalistic endeavor after the rapture. I do believe the Gog and Magog war falls after the rapture. Been wondering where it falls in, but I do believe it fits in there, over there. Psalm 83 war. Okay. So already this alliance has started to rear its ugly head, looking very much like the armies of Gog and Magog. Guys, it's proper looking Gog and Magog. All up in your grillo. Gog and Magog is already looking like BRICS. And remember, these countries I've just mentioned right now are another 5 that have been added to BRICS, but there are others that want to join. And apparently, allegedly, the BRICS Union already holds 40%. I mean, what a staggering number. 40% of the world's GDP. America is on shaky ground. No wonder they have got all these unscrupulous, unsavory business practices currently, international practices that they're partaking in. No wonder they're busy censoring and shadow banning the living daylights out of my innocent general bones. They are hurting the weakest BRIC nations. And they are targeting Africa first, South Africa first. And South Africa, you will go. Why? Because you are southernmost out of all of them. China's up there. Most of them are in the northern hemisphere. So they're going to come at you in your weak little disposition and no electricity and your defeatism and your giving over of your own Elon Musks to America or to go and become mechanics in little shops, unable to create singularity in AI, his own contribution to the beast system, literally thwarting some of your biggest and baddest skills who are chilling on the far extreme of the normal distribution. Therefore, their geniuses can change a country, improve it. You are slapping them, spitting on them. So your own defeatism, your own shooting yourself in the foot, you giant zombie bully, you is going to cause not only a skills exodus of enough Doja Cats and Elon Musks and Trevor Noahs and Charlize Therons, but cause those Charlize Therons that are still in South Africa to end up selling my keep in their houses. You will continue to carry on with your Parkite crisis, which it has been written of is going to last another decade. You will keep shooting yourself in the foot, even though there are meetings happening. Johannesburg, where did it happen? Gallagher Estate. That's where they always have these meetings. Was it at the Gallagher Estate? I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? It was somewhere in Joburg, where they had this BRICS summit. You will keep on ululating and celebrating on some, our country's about to improve. Look, I've seen Xi Jinping. Then Johannesburg. Look, I saw Vladimir Putin in Johannesburg. You will pride yourself in seeing all the kings of mighty nations in your door, in your backs. But you must understand, you who've got kings in your backyard, these kings will very quickly and very easily, once America conquers South Africa, just let us go. They'll just let us go. This is a capitalistic alliance, and their might and their strength is literally determined on economic power, and it is also determined on military might. Their fist, if at all it's an iron fist, they can take it. But if you are wobbly-legged, yes, they will still call you one of their allies. But if you're too weak, because you're defeatist, they will let you go and they will allow you to get withered away. You will be collateral damage. You're going to be like a casualty in war. You win some, you lose some. Some soldiers fall. And in order to rise and de-dollarize the world, the BRICS Union will take the collateral damage of South Africa dying in their stride. It'll be like a soldier falling in war, because the enemies around her are going to be so mighty that Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin will be like, I'm sorry, it sucks, but you win some, you lose some. We have expanded. We've got other countries. So we'll still be their ally, but we are going to low-key just abandon them, because in war, you get casualties and some soldiers fall. And you, South Africa, who is at the very southernmost part of all of the BRICS nations, you are about to get annihilated. Brazil is already apprehensive, so they're not going to bug her too much. Argentina has just joined, so I don't know what that looks like in the future, what that's going to achieve. But you see those ones there in the Middle East, hanging out in the UAE, those chilling out, go Iran. The ones in just the northern hemisphere, goodness gracious, so much trouble. And the northern African countries, so much trouble. Like the Union is going to blast a crater in South Africa's knee because it is intimidating to the US, and the US is going to target us first, and then we're out the way. And you will lose South Africa because you lack strength. Now, if you think about all of the BRICS countries, think about Russia, think about China, the strongest ones. There is union and camaraderie among their people. China is literally training some of the baddest soldiers in the game. Their corporate game is on fire. They don't even sleep. They sleep in the office. They've got little beds in their offices. Like corporate China has got sleeping rooms because people don't go home. That's the industry there. They are under a social credit score system and they are adhering to it like little minions. They are in a bunch as a society. They are using TikTok as a weapon across the world, where they export rubbish content to the world through TikTok, but their own TikTok is limited and also restricted for certain hours of the day for their kids to use it, or for their people, their citizens to use it. It's a very tactical, military, mighty country that has to be strong. One of the kings of the East that are going to join up against the Lord in the Battle of Armageddon. So China is going to be a power all the way up until the end. It's going to be a power all the way up until the end. Do you understand? But it's not going to be the superpower. The superpower will be, it's going back to Europe. It's going back to Europe. Do you understand what I'm saying? So Xi Jinping and Putin are not going to prosper to get global dominance, but they're going to be a force big enough to be reckoned with for the EU to cower in standing up for America. That's what's good. That's what's happened. That's inevitably going to happen. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like Bible prophecy is coming to pass in the worst way, in the most damaging way to South Africa. So granted that China is that disciplined, granted that Russia, Vladimir Putin is running them with an iron fist. They're so scared of him that they are made patriots by coercion. They are made patriots by attrition and fear. So they're not going to be disruptive of their own fellow man. They're keeping each other strong because they've gone to war with a country where the whole world has shunned them for doing this thing. So all they have is each other. Now that is a nation in camaraderie, therefore. So you can't bring them down very easily. Divide and conquer, no, they're not divided. They're standing strong. The same thing goes for Iran. The government there is just full of force and what have you, right? Even though the citizens on the ground might be fighting, there's like a whole anti-government thing going down, but they have got such military might that Vladimir Putin is using them even with weapons that he is utilizing from them on the Ukraine. So Iran is going to stand. The UAE, everybody knows the UAE and their crown princes, they're not going anywhere. They're a powerhouse. They're not going anywhere with all of their gas as well. All of their oil exports, goodness gracious, the UAE is only going to grow from strength to strength. They're building a little funny like metropolis city that looks like something from outer space, and it's like the UAE can afford to like hook up projects of that nature the way that it's so wealthy. That's what's good. So whether or not human rights violations are an issue there is irrelevant. And then Ethiopia is growing from strength to strength, and so too is Egypt. There is nothing that South Africa has on all these other countries when it comes to culture. We have missed the point that many of the other BRICS nations have not missed. So whether or not you belong to BRICS South Africa is irrelevant, because you don't have the values, societally anyway, of China. You don't have the values of Russia. You don't have the values of Ethiopia and the UAE. You don't have like the immorality of South Africa. You will not find that in China. You will not find the woke, like South Africa is woke in a way. It's weird like that. It's woke. It is also full of witchcraft. It is divided. There are so many things that have fallen apart about this country that are just in a bunch in other nations. Like in the UAE, for instance, sex before marriage is illegal. It's illegal. So, like, there is an insistence upon a societal morality. The hegemony there is very strict. A country that strict can never fall because people fear ramifications and repercussions. So we are speaking about strong armies that are disciplined, that are not even having sex if they're not husbands. So their youth are not busy partying, drinking it up a storm and fornicating all over the show. You can't stand up against a country of that nature, whether or not they honor God. In South Africa, we got people transitioning, people doing gender change surgeries. In our military, we've got little queer men, little girls that are our army. So whatever. When America comes and mows us down, as they will inevitably try, we're going to fall, and we're going to be regarded as a soldier on the battlefield. Do you understand? That, I mean, you win some, you lose some. You win some, you lose some. So the bullying of my person by my mom and my sisters, the fact that they've converted me into a domestic servant, the fact that they've gone on and grabbed a Charlize Theron and literally tried to put her in the household of a man that's going to put 21 babies in her stomach and make her sell my keep us out of her house. The fact that some witch in South Africa tried to bewitch me to go and wait tables at the Wimpy, making out of me a Trevor Noah selling sandwiches at MTN Canteen. It doesn't matter. You've gone on and grabbed one of your diasporas that didn't quite get to move to another country, a genius, and made her sell magwenya, made her sell fat cakes outside of her mother's house. Literally, you have made me unfruitful in everything I try with all of your witchcraft. It is no wonder you're falling and you're dying. When I was working out yesterday, the Lord showed me a burning South African flag, and I could not care less because I had to finish exercising. So your BRICS union is not going to save you, because unlike all the other BRICS countries, South Africa, that will be kept strong for the sake of the Gog and Magog battle, in order to fulfill it, you, South Africa, are nowhere to be found in that description of nations, Gog and Magog. You are nowhere to be found in that description. None of the Southern African countries are mentioned. No Southern country at all is mentioned. It's all the countries in the north, in the Middle East, hanging out there in the center of the earth that go against. So therefore, you are going to be considered a collateral damage, a casualty of war by Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping. Even though you might have seen them there in Sandton, hanging out in Johannesburg, coming together at the BRICS summit, entering Argentina and the UAE, Ethiopia and Egypt into the union. It doesn't matter. Na Iran, it doesn't matter, because you are about to be ousted, not so much out of BRICS, but you are going to be considered collateral damage by BRICS. You are going to fall off because you're too weak. You can't even keep your own economy in a bunch. But when that happens, I'm not going to be here. Where I'm going, I don't know. The thing you did to me is evidence of your downfall. So thank you, South Africa, for destroying yourself and grinding yourself to a fine powder because you can't stand geniuses among you. Because you insist that September is the second month of spring. Because you insist that August is not winter. Because even when facts are presented to you, you're sticking to those guns. The very country whose wokeism you have inherited and adopted and taken in your stride, i.e. the United States of America, is about to ransack the living daylights out of you until there is nothing of you to recognize anymore. And they're going to prosper to take you over entirely. They are going to knock you out in their battle to stay strong. And so therefore in fighting BRICS, they will bring South Africa down. Don't say I didn't warn you. All the other countries of BRICS are going to be strong, and their irritation with what they did to South Africa is going to make them grow even bigger. So it's only going to create a bigger enemy against them, and it's also going to cause America to get lambasted by BRICS for hurting South Africa. But South Africa will be out the way. I told you. The Lord, South Africa, has handed you over to your captors. It's over. Thank you for making me a domestic servant. It only confirms this particular prophecy. I'm signing out in Christ's name as the genius that I am. Crank. Peace.